Well, it looks like lunch isn't sort anymore, so... Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a Jerdanator code right there. I think.
Yeah.
Let me just double check.
Chad still hasn't had a haircut.
No.
There is one seat
I
down
love
front.
this
Any solo players, one seat down front.
Hey, Paige.
We're on the slide down here too.
Twitch, Twitter, YouTube.
JB.
Oh, okay.
I've hijacked Jared's phone.
It's a link tree, so you can scan it. And you can
Hey,
follow
Dale.
the information.
Question related always down. Front seat.
Bit late, but I guess you're front seat.
Sit back, relax, enjoy. I know the guy in blue. We're just talking a lot. Say hi to the stream, Smitty. Hey.
And here we have the commentator.
It's my stream now.
Just Bruce has taken
How are
over.
we doing today, chat? How's everyone's Sunday going? You may notice this sounds like my bad voice. I'm feeling a bit
A little raspy. That's the perfect time to have
Easy.
raspy voice because it's not even going to be you talking.
Yeah. If
Just
you guys
getting
want to know, there's Commander down there in the suit.
3 days in a row. He's keeping
That's his
consistent.
third day. Don't know how he's done it. And the last 2 days have been really warm in here.
Try not to shake when you laugh.
His buns must be hotter than a Dutch
That's
oven.
going to be even harder now. None of these people look old. Well, Paige, look, we know, there's one boomer front and center. We all know this. One boomer front and center.
What do you go?
Beezy, I'm trying my best. It's a bit hard, okay? It's a bit hard. Yeah, go a couple of minutes early.
Like a little table seated on
There
in
he is,
front
Get the
everyone.
early picks.
Gotta let the people roll in.
Let Beezy get his comments
You got
on.
Paige, you got Jasmine, you got a couple of other people in there as well. I don't know.
I'll probably lurk when I want to put some notes down.
Lurkers.
Yeah, I'll lurk.
We appreciate the lurk. Hit that sub button if you're new.
Yes. Just need to take that. Alright, here we go.
Shut up, Beezy. They aren't that old. I try and rest you all on my knee. I like the stream too. Yes, that's it, Paige. That's it.
Oh, don't pause it, please.
Does it look that shaky? I can't really tell.
It's a little, but it's not that bad actually. It's as you'd expect.
If I had, I should have brought a I should have actually purchased a gimbal. That would have been a lot better.
Well, the alternative is sticky tape. Just sticky tape it to your Jerd shirt.
Yeah.
It's like, well, if you're going to wear the Jerd shirt, you might as well wear the camera.
Yeah. Now I got Brookie in chat. The Joe Billions, yeah.
Like half are on
It's like a cult. Like half of us are here.
Half of us are here, yeah.
But the only difference is you can tell we're members instantly. 'Cause we're
Yeah.
wearing the shirts.
Yeah.
Is it?
One of us. One of us. One of us.
One of us. Drum up.
How are you, Aki? What's going on, mate?
Apparently Ashley has a bone to pick with Mrs. J.
Well, where you were yesterday, really, Mrs. Slay?
Yeah.
At least you can split us a mile away.
Like a sore thumb.
You know, like focus and bring the line down a little bit. I imagine I'll bring the line down. What have I done to who? Oh, man. I'm going to be focusing more on looking at the camera than I am at looking at the panel. I'm going to try my very
Making
best.
sure that the whole thing looks
You
good.
can do it.
I'm trying.
You can do it. Yeah.
You're doing a fine job.
You wouldn't be able to tell I'm a cameraman, could you?
It's not your
photographer.
job.
Or a photographer.
Can't wait.
Oh, I can. I'll keep it out
Just a
though.
little bit, yeah.
No, because otherwise it's really sensitive. I'm gonna keep it out.
One will touch the phone.
It didn't actually change.
Sensitive at times.
Ended up being our
Oh, it
stalker
did.
the song wanted to
It's
see.
just a huge delay on my phone. A huge delay on my phone, so I couldn't tell.
Yeah. We'll be underway any minute, chat. Anyway. Any minute.
Oh, I'm sorry. Should I? Oh, there we go. Oh, now the background can see. I'm trying to like sink in a bit so everyone can see.
Kick
This is
back,
why I
relax.
went to the back, because I knew that I wanted people
Grab
in
some
the front to
popcorn.
see. I should do what they do in the photos at school. No. I should just do what I did in kindergarten, where it was like I was the tallest kid from kindergarten all the way up until year 6. So all I had to do was sit in the front row and like sit on my knees for every
Yeah.
photo. But after that point, everyone else started growing taller. I started getting short.
I think we need to get a gimbal fund going for next year. You're not short.
Yeah. It's a matter of perspective.
You're not
as well.
short. You're average sized.
I'm just taller than most of it.
Which is good.
Can we all agree, chat? Mrs. J is not short. She's average sized.
No, she's average size because I know I'm average
Good
size.
morning, everybody. Thank you for getting up at such an early hour. But as we are all obviously of a certain age, I'm sure we all went to bed early last night, and so we're all fresh and bright this morning. Thank you for joining us today. This is an amazing turnout, considerably more than we were expecting. So thank you very much for coming. We really appreciate it. My name's Icy, and I am 46 and visibly middle-aged because all this white here is actually my own, that's natural. And I'd like to get the, just to really get my credentials, my first gaming device is a Commodore 64.
Very nice.
Good to see. And I'm going to just get people to introduce themselves down the line. So Noel.
Good morning, early bird risers. My name is Noel. I am a community manager. I also known as Jury 76. I am 46 years old, which is a bit more obvious when I take the hat off. And my first console was actually a Pong clone. It was a thing called a Sheen 100. And Sheen 100 Telesport something or other, had like the longest name. But yes, that's me. Jax.
I'm Jax. I am Jax Garrett. I am 42, so feeling sprightly at this point. I'm the CEO and founder of GGWP Academy. My first gaming console was a Commodore 64 as well.
I'm Jurban. I'm 39. My first console was a family Atari 2600. Yes. It was the 2600. We need more wood grain consoles. And we used to play Decathlon, Pitfall, all that as a family. So yeah, that's me. Hi.
Hi, I'm Zinadra. I am clearly not Australian, sorry.
That's okay, you're allowed.
I am, I think, the oldest one here. I'm 48. I've been gaming since 1977 on an Atari 2600. I became a gamer the day I beat my brother's big score, or high score, on Asteroids, and I really haven't stopped since. Hello.
I'm Deku, I directly from the homes. So yeah, I stream on Deku TV on Twitch, and I've been gaming since I was very small. I also had a Sheen as my first. It was a Pong clone. That was my first gaming console, followed shortly by the Big Smith Wizard. I've also just after that one as well, the VZ300. Does anybody remember that? Oh yeah. There we go. Thank you. I feel justified now. Yes.
Yeah, no, that's true. So, as you see, we're all gamers of a certain age. The other thing I'd like to say though is, even though we've all been playing games since we were little, there's no start point playing games. So if you're out there and you've only really picked up gaming the last 5 years, the last year, you are welcome. Please do. Like, don't feel that you need a history in gaming to actually start, whether your hair is grey or you don't have any. You can start at any time. So, now, I'd just like to ask our panelists here, how your age or your appearance, I guess, fits into your gaming communities. So when you're playing, so 4 of us are streamers, so we're playing games, and if we've got face cams on, obviously we look sort of this way. Gentlemen, I want to start with you. How does your community treat you, and sort of
It's a bit of a masochistic relationship. No, I've got a really wide range of like ages in my community. So we go from like 19 through to I think we maybe have a 70-year-old in the community. So we have a nice wide spread. My younger community members like to call me Boomer, even though I'm 40 till next year. So, but they enjoy calling me Boomer, and I have Jerdman Boomer AIM. That's my trademark. So yeah, they like to make me feel older than I actually am. So they're good to keep you grounded, but don't let you get too big ahead of yourself because you're still old man Jerd. And I took a photo out the front in the sun yesterday, and when the sun hit my beard, that's the whitest I've ever seen my beard. And I was actually shocked when I looked at it. I went, my beard is really white now. So give it a couple of years, it'll probably be all white. But they like to make fun of me.
Yeah. And Zenedra, do you find people treat you one way or the other when you're streaming because, like, being middle-aged or not?
Only when I do things like, open a box and forget what I'm actually in there for, or going for a mission and losing my spot on the map, even though there's a big pin that tells me where I'm going. Yeah, like that.
I would like to say that happens at all ages, so it's okay. Has anybody on the panel ever had any kind of negative, something negative happen to them because you're a certain age?
Well, I did, on the flip side, which is something that's bothered me ever since. So I was 24 years old, had been working in IT for a few years, had established myself from the age of 16 doing part-time IT work. That's, if you haven't guessed, I work in IT. And went for a job at ANZ Bank. And they said, you're in your early 20s, you're not using the 30s and 40s, you might fit in. No, you've got the skill, but no. Which, as far as I know, is probably illegal, but...
That was a couple years ago.
No?
I'm not sure if this counts as a bad thing or not, but sometimes be reminded how old you are when people say, oh, I love retro games, and you start engaging them, oh, what's your favourite old school console? Oh, the PlayStation 2. It turns to dust.
So, Norm and Jax both work in the gaming industry. From the perspective of actually working in this hobby that we all love, because we've actually rocked up here very early, how does your age affect how you're treated, how it works in the industry? Jax?
It maybe affects my socializing last night. I didn't go to Fortress because I wanted to stay at home, hydrate, and sleep. I mean, I could have done a ton of networking, but I was exhausted yesterday after the last 2 days, to be quite honest. And so I just stayed at home and did my thing. But I think that it can sometimes be looked at, I think that it should be looked at more of an experience thing. But sometimes it doesn't come off that way.
Mm-hmm. No, how about you?
I've got to say, for me, being in the game industry about 10 years now, and being the age that I am, it's one of those things where people do tend to look like, oh, some sort of wise old man. It's like, I don't know what I'm doing. What the hell are you talking about? Yeah, I'm lost as well. It's fine. Sorry, my voice went like a teenager then. Jesus. Yeah, I do tend to get a little bit. It goes both ways sometimes. So I do get sometimes the, oh, you've got a good experience. I'd love to learn from you. Tell me, tell me about your journey. Tell me your path into games and things like that. Other side of the coin, because I work in social media and community management, it's like, oh, aren't you too old for that? Shouldn't you like stop playing games? You're that old sort of thing. That's weird double-edged knife sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I will say it is far more positive than negative. But
That's
Yeah.
great.
Agreed.
So one thing that we find, of course, is as we mature, that our bodies do not necessarily keep up with how our brains do. So I'd like people on the panel just to talk for a few minutes about how their physical abilities change. I know for myself that I play the Elder Scrolls Online, and I, a couple of years ago, decided that I wanted to be able to do the hardest single player combat in the game. I don't know why. I'm a machoist. Just something. It took me a good 2 years to do it, and I could see many younger players just going through and just taking much less time. I got there eventually, and now I can do it very smoothly to a certain extent, but that was something that I needed to really work at, and it took me quite a long time to do that. How do you find your physical limitations changing as you're getting older? Zenedra?
I think the biggest one is, games come out with new releases or, new patches, and you wanna be first in, and you wanna be with the first lot in there and see what all the new stuff. And we're in Australia, so waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning is just not as easy as it used to be. And there's definitely not staying up all night at all. Unless, of course, I want to sleep early. I think that's probably my biggest issue is I really like seeing new games and being the first there, and I just can't like I used to. So.
And Noel, do you have any thoughts on that one?
quite a few. But for me, it's the balance of time, because you actually have to, like, being a responsible adult.
What's that?
Who's the responsible one?
We all think it, yes.
Like, especially with community, like, there are a lot of late nights involved, especially when you work in the games industry and early mornings and things like that. It's trying to find a balance between my career and my passion for games. So trying to find that nice balance between, like, I want to get to sit down and play games for like 6 hours straight, but I also need to take care of, household stuff and work stuff and things like that as well. So it's finding that balancing point. Also from the health aspect too, like, I'm someone who actually I had a stroke about 10 years ago and used video games as part of my recovery from that. So I think that's one of those things too, where games are now being used more and more for that sort of thing as well. So it's not just a negative impact on games have a positive impact as well.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. And that leads in nicely to, of course, as we get older, as we start, you have more and more responsibilities, and that changes how you game. So one thing I do want to say is that, especially for anybody out here who's younger, there's a couple of you, don't feel pressured to give up your hobby. Like, as you get older, like, hang on to it. It will necessarily, to some extent, take a back seat, and that's okay. But don't give it up. If it brings you joy and makes you feel happy and satisfied, then make sure you keep gaming. But Daku, I know that you've needed to make some changes to how you sort of game recently. Tell us about that.
Yeah, well, it's not just gaming, streaming as well. So I used to stream just 4 days a week, and I don't stream full time. It's a side gig, hobby sort of thing, and it was usually around 3 to 4 hours streaming, usually for 3. And I was working a full-time job. I've got kids, I've got 3 kids, mortgage, all the normal responsibilities. And with that, I was commuting a lot because it was an hour and a half each way. And we used to go into the office for whatever reason that was, I forget. And was burning a candle at both ends. I pushing myself too hard to the point where I sacrificed two of the most important things that I have in my life, is the ability to sleep and my family. So and by losing sleep, it affects my mental health. I was unhappy, I was grumpy, snapping at my probably wife and my children more than I do now, sort of thing. And I wanted to play my games and do my stream, and I'd focus solely into that. Long story short, I had a hard look at myself and rolled everything back, and I now stream once a week. I play video games when I have the time, not on any schedule that I have to do. I've taken up martial arts and do that 4 times a week instead of streaming to keep my fitness up. And always make sure that I get a proper amount of sleep every night. And I'm very happy.
That's good.
Because I found that balance, and everyone's journey is different. Finding that balance is a personal journey to where you can still do things you enjoy, still play all my favorite games, still get my streams done, and I look after myself and the people around me.
And Jax, what's your experience
I'm
with?
going to disappoint everyone here and say that I haven't played much in the last 12 months. Honestly, the last game that I probably sat down and really enjoyed was Valheim. So we're going back, a while now. I did a lot through COVID. Before that, I'd spend a lot of time with Minecraft, just to zone out, more so than pleasure. It was more of a relaxation effort. So I guess when you start working so much in the gaming industry, for me at least, it left a lot of, not so much time in terms of gaming. So I envy those who have enough time for gaming, but I don't play enough as much as I want to at the moment.
Yeah, and that's okay, because different people have different amounts of time they can spend. If all you can do is play for 10 minutes on your phone, then you're still a gamer. That's fine. Like, that's okay. No problem. Okay. So, does anybody else have any other thoughts that they wanted to share?
Yeah, I was going to say that I'm sort of different because I've gamed forever basically, and when I was little it was after school and you had to get mum to take you to the video shop to hire a game, and we hired, I think we had the Master System 2 and we hired Golf Mania. So I can see the progression of games through golf games, because you look at the old golf games and then you had like leaderboard where it had voice acting, it's like, whoa, he's hit the trees, Jim. And then you go up to motion capture and all this stuff. So you look at something like a golf game, you just see the progression. We hired Golf Mania so many times from the video shop. Eventually the video shop said, just have the game. Just have it. So they just gave us the game. So my gaming sort of, I've been in hospitality 20 years. I fell in hospitality, I've bought beers for 20 years. And gaming's always been there. I'd game once my wife went to sleep or the kids went to bed. And then that's when I fell into streaming like 2 years ago. So people, the younger crew at work, oh, you stream? I'm like, yeah. But you're like old. Like, there are, it may blow your mind, there are older streamers out there than me. So if anything, gaming's now become a passion and a hobby, but also that's what I'm trying to do. Like, I've never been passionate about anything, and I've fallen into a career that I just hated. So now that I stream on Twitch, I do it 40 hours a week, I treat it like a business, and I've had so much more fulfillment and joy in gaming as well as in like a career mind, like in middle age. Like I felt like I found my calling at like 36, I'm 39 now. So for me it's sort of, I'm gaming more now than I probably ever have. But I'm enjoying it so much. I play games on easy, I don't play games on hard because I don't have the time for it. Don't be afraid to play games on easy, it's okay. We're lucky now too, nowadays there's so many accessibility options, so I'll go through the accessibility options. And if there's the ones that's going to make the game easier for me to play and easier for me to enjoy, I will turn them on. So recently we started playing Grounded, which if you play Grounded, it looks like a really cute, friendly kid game. The ground is absolutely brutal. It's so brutal. So I started on mild, which was easy, and there's a whole bunch of accessibility options. So I died a few times, get the cranks, I'm like, I'm not enjoying this as much. I'd flick off that option. I play a bit more, die a few more times, and I go, oh, I'm going to go back and flick off that option. Eventually I flicked off about 8 different options, and then I was enjoying the game. So I think whatever you've got to do to enjoy the game. Some people treat gaming as like, they like getting punished, they like playing Dark Souls, they like playing Elden Ring. For me it's all about enjoyment. If I'm not enjoying it, then I don't want to do it. So don't be afraid to play on easy, don't be afraid to change the settings up. My reflexes are a lot slower now that I'm older. They're never good to begin with anyway, but they're a lot slower now.
Fair enough.
So yeah, for me it's all about enjoyment and just don't have an ego. Like I know a lot of the younger gamers, especially if they're competitive, have to have these egos about their gaming abilities. My kids game, grandparents are gaming, like gaming's so broad.
But I think also, sorry, I'm losing my voice as well. I think also there's a piece there about your brand though, and how it attracts so many different people from lots of different age groups. You mentioned before that you have people in your audience from 19 to 70.
Yeah.
And I think that that's something that potentially a younger streamer can't really pull off. You know, when you look at an older streamer, somebody who's got a little bit more, you know, life experience and something more to say and everything else, I think it allows for a more open community. And I really think that's where the strength lies in terms of people who are streaming who are not 24 or whatever. But
We got stories, like 20 years in the pub, I've got a lot of stories.
Exactly.
So,
Great stories.
Right moment, there's always a story. I've got a story about a guy that I cut off, and he came back like an hour later right on close. I mean, my younger friend, who was like 19 at the time, he said, this guy's coming back in. I'm going to look at it. He walks up to the bar and says, can I get a drink? I said, no. And he pulls out of his pocket a chicken fillet.
Yeah.
Puts it on the bar and then says, okay then, and off he went.
That's right.
Me and my friend looked at each other going, what the hell is that? I didn't want to touch it. Anyway, so I've got tons of stories, so I think life experience is really good.
It's a classic.
And
I want to touch on that thing that you talked about with ego and sort of the changing for the younger gamers. Zenedra, you've got a story about that.
Yeah. So I used to play COD. I used to play a lot of COD. And as I got older, it just simply got harder. I cannot find a head to shoot for the life of me now. I don't play it at all now because I literally am just a walking target. But getting there, you know, was difficult. And it took a while for me to say, okay, this is not the kind of game I can play anymore. And it was difficult and hard, and it cost a couple keyboards and maybe a desk.
A desk, okay.
I don't look that strong unless I'm angry. No. But yeah, it did. I had to take a moment and say, this isn't a reflection on me as a gamer. It's really not. I'm still having fun if I go and do something else. So I don't play first-person shooters unless there's a zombie involved. I kind of like zombies. Don't ask. But yeah, I mean, it took a moment of me not playing those types of games and playing other games and enjoying them to realize that I'm not a bad gamer because I can't do what I used to do. I'm just a different gamer. So.
Back to the point about sort of communities and sort of Jackson's point about streamers older streamers who can attract a range of sort of people. Tell me about the oldest person that you know in your gaming communities, like the oldest person that you know of.
I think I have a 60.
Yep.
60 or 65. She won't honestly tell me her age.
That's fine.
She gave me a story and I had to redact her age, and it was 10 years ago, so I think she thought I might be able to math. And I've got young as 18.
Yeah.
So.
And Daku, who's the oldest person you know in your kind of general gaming community?
That's a good question. Age doesn't really come into it a lot. Like, everyone's sort of just their personality and who they are. And age doesn't come into it unless there's something like a factor, like talking about the first year of uni. Like I've had people, I had one community member who contacted me and sent me a DM and said, you work in IT and I'm studying that for uni. Can I interview you? So I said, yeah, sure. So I did an interview and told him about what the industry is like and all that from Australia. He's from Belgium, so it's a bit different. But we don't specifically ask age. Like most of my community didn't even know how old I was, because it's not something that comes up until Miss Fiji posted my birthday cake. 40 on it. It's a good cake though.
For me, like the communities I've got to work with and the ones I've engaged with, I've had people ranging from like, in their teens up into their 90s. I've also had not technically part of my community, but one of the oldest and one of the most amazing people I've ever got the pleasure of working with was Shirley Curry, also known as Skyrim Grandma. She's an absolute saint woman and just like, phenomenal human being, really like against like the gatekeeping that can happen in certain communities where it's like, oh, you haven't played this game for like 2,000 hours. How dare you try and talk about it? Yeah. She was completely against that sort of stuff. She's a wonderful human being and a great example of gaming. It's your passion. Age is relevant. We should all be able to game regardless of age, sex, religion, ability, the whole thing. Gaming should be for everybody, no matter what. And I'm very, very passionate about that one as well. And she's well, so it's phenomenal.
Yeah, she's amazing. If you haven't seen her YouTube channel, she's got what? 1 million subscribers, some insane number. But she's also somebody who started gaming in her 60s. I think her son got her onto Skyrim, and then she's just done amazing things with it. So.
Someone has actually been to the studios, and if the rumors are true from what's going online, she will actually be in Elder Scrolls 6 as well.
Which is as an NPC. Yeah. For my own communities, sort of the people I hang with regularly in my stream, I think 65-ish, somewhere around there is sort of the oldest person sort of in stream. But in the social guild I'm in, there's somebody who's actively a grandma because she talks about her grandkids and she's in there all of the time. When I was PvPing regularly in a very professional, very serious PvP guild. Two of the most reliable people were sort of in their 70s, and you can don't be limited. Both it goes all the way, right? If you can be 16 and because actually in the PvP guild that was the guild leader was 17. So age really doesn't need to limit you however you go. One thing I did want to say is, so a lot of us here, who put your hand up if you started gaming when you were a kid?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, that's really cool. And probably what a lot of us would have found as we were gaming when we were kids is maybe that made us a geek on the outside. Maybe it wasn't cool. One thing I do want to make sure that everybody thinks about is even though we probably all had a relatively sort of tough time growing up, we kind of fall into that category maybe. And maybe younger gamers don't have quite that same journey. Don't gatekeep them. Make sure that you're including those younger gamers because gaming is honestly cool now. Like it's fantastic. It's wonderful. And so they haven't had to walk, 10 miles in the snow to get to school. Through broken cars and broken cities. That's actually wonderful because do you know what that means? That means we've done our job. We've actually made it so that gaming is part of mainstream and we've made it so that it's actually there for everybody now. So just bring those younger gamers up.
I was going to say that, like on your point, when we were gamers, we sort of the first, I guess if you're sort of around our age, not that I'm as old as some of you, we were sort of the first generation of like gamers who had it in their homes, and we played at the arcades, and then we've had it in our homes, and then we've pushed through, And now my kids are at school and they're coding with Minecraft.
Yeah.
So like they're getting that at school now. So we had to walk 10 miles for a snow to a game, but now they're getting it at like year 1 level. So
Isn't it part of the curriculum now as well? Isn't like
Yeah.
Minecraft
Yeah.
education? I think there might be a Minecraft education crowd. I think I saw earlier as well. Like someone spoke to before. But yeah, that's enormous. Actually, part of the curriculum these days. It's so socially acceptable and so intrinsic, like so embedded in our society now that gaming is mainstream. It's normalized. It's
And I think
beautiful.
one of the coolest stats around this is that you're 3 times more likely, if you game as a young girl, you're 3 times more likely to go into a STEM career. And that is just amazing. That's something
Absolutely. No, it's really great. Speaking of school, sorry, I just want to say my first computer I used at school, it was a Microbee.
Anybody else use the old Apple IIe as well?
Oh, yes.
I don't remember what the name of the computer was, but I know I played Granny's Garden on a big floppy disk and Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego.
Yes.
I remember playing Moon Patrol. Anybody else remember that one as well? Yeah, I do remember all the day.
We played Alley
Alley Cat fans in the house, look at them.
Cat. I'm waiting for the reboot.
Well, some young indie dad, if you're sitting out there, make this a reboot. I want some nostalgia, black with green gameplay.
Actually, I've also had to mention a very quick. I've been on before weekend. Mentioned a very quick walk past the classic gaming era, which I also was it's my childhood. Walking through there, seeing some stuff, and like any younger gamers who are here today, even older games, it's always worth looking back at that sort of stuff and seeing how far gaming has come. Like back in the day, probably, I'm sure a few of us here remember the console wars back in the day. It's like, you're a Sega fan, I'm a Nintendo fan, we can't be friends anymore. That whole Sega, either way it's fine, be very clear, I'm not, once again on that one this one. But like going back to that area and looking at even just some of the advertising, how advertisements changed. Because back then it was also very male centric as well. It was very much focused, boys play games, girls play with dolls or whatever, they play house kitchen, stuff like that. Boys, we do games and sports and cars, and now it's like everyone games.
Yeah.
There is no sort of like, I know there are a couple of consoles out there. I think the Casio Loopy is a good example. That was one designed specifically for girls in Japan. Didn't sell well. Can't imagine why. Maybe don't target for a particular gender. Make it accessible to everybody.
Yeah.
But that retro gaming, if you haven't checked it out, please go check it out. Because you'll just go through there and go, oh, I remember that. I had that. And once again, like me, you go, oh God, my childhood.
And you'll be very surprised how hard Pac-Man really is.
Those older gamers, those older games that we grew up with are so hard to go back and play now. They're like, you try and play Alex the Kid or even Mario, like, because you're so used now to having thumbsticks and this and that, and then you go and play an old school platformer.
I like issues from what I was saying. So I've got friends of mine, like, I've got a decent sized collection of retro systems and stuff that I love for collecting, preserving, and sharing with people and educating stuff on. And a couple of my friends' kids who play Rocket League and they play Minecraft, stuff like that. Stuff's a very quick reaction. They came over to my flat the other day and they were looking at the consoles and oh, what's that one? I said, oh, that's an original Nintendo. When did that come out? 1982. Oh, does it still work? Yes. Here we go. Sure thing. Get it out. Chuck Mario in there. I've never seen a kid rage quit so much. All like this, that intense, like, come on. They didn't have the patience that were required with the older games. It was just phenomenal. I was sitting there watching, I'm trying to laugh. But like, there's some games that we grew up with, it was like, oh yeah, this is hard, but we got through it. And like, also, oh, how do I save my progress? I'm a child.
And I have to say, I'm so glad that's gone. Not for game development. I mean, because so much of that gameplay was like, make it a 30-hour game because it's impossible. So one thing, a lot of us play MMOs, so where parts of we're in online communities. And previously I was talking about what's the oldest person you know of in your community. One privilege that we have as being older gamers in online communities is that we, to some extent, take a parent role. And we get to see people grow up around us. Denedra, you've got a really nice story about that.
Yeah, I have, it's not my story, it is one of my viewers' stories, but it was very lovely, and it was great that she shared it. Her name is Lady Geo, she's wonderful, she's an Australian lady, and I love her to bits. Basically, I asked my community to give me a couple stories. I got a lot of, up the hill in snow with my laptop, both directions, LAN party stories. It's great, but everybody's got those. Geo gave me a story. She met a young man, probably 10, 15 years ago, I think she said. They were playing games. He was in the guild. He was young. She brought him along to all of the stuff. Now, she also got to see him age up in life. They're still friends. They still game together. And when this young man now, who is, he's a professional, he's got his family, he's got his life, still calls Geo when he's got something rough going on. So, and that's something that you can only get by being an older gamer. Everybody's got friends online that they care about, that they love. Some maybe not, but you always have friendships that last a little bit longer when you've got something else that you can talk about and have fun with that's not concentrated on how horrible life is, or who's getting paid more money for something.
Does anybody else have any stories about younger gamers in their communities who come to you for advice? Or
I'm still fairly, I've only been streaming 2.5 years, but I do have a bit of life experience. But one guy in particular, he came in when he was on furlough. Jerville down in the front here knows what I'm talking about. He came in when he was on furlough in the UK. He was off work, so he was here pretty much every day. And the community was quite small, still quite small, but it was quite small back then. And it was sort of sometimes it was just me and him, just in chat, actively chatting, and then we sort of struck up a friendship, and then he messaged me about a few different things, and now he's gone and got engaged, got his own house, and it's just nice to see that I'm going to see him sort of go through what me and my wife went through, and I'm going to be part of that. I did a Bob Ross painting, which was absolutely terrible. It was so bad. The paint was chunky, it was terrible. Anyway, everyone was saying that painting is terrible, it's awful, including my wife. Artistic talent. And he's like, he said, send it over. He said, I want it. So now it's in their lounge room in their brand new house.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see that.
Huge in the queue.
And then we've got one of our regulars, Dad comes in. JB's dad comes in, and he's, I don't know how old Bus Fixer is. I say
61.
He's not. But when he comes in, all for chat, call him Dad. He comes in and they're like, Dad's here, and then they all say, hi Dad. So he's like the dad of Jerdville now. So it's nice that we have that sort of, I've got that on both ends. I've got the younger guys getting married or getting engaged, and then we've got the older crew that come in, and it's like the father figure, and it's the grandfather figure, and it's nice to have that sort of community. And gaming's all about community. That's what it is. When we gamed as kids, there was no internet. There was no, you were solo or with your friend on your couch or your brother or sister on your couch. And now the whole world's connected, and we're meeting people of all ages from all across the world. And I don't think there's any other industry or any other medium that does that. Movies don't do that, TV doesn't do that. Gaming's what connects everyone. So it's nice to see as a humanity standpoint.
So I've been very fortunate with the jobs that I've had and working across some incredible games companies, and I've got to meet some phenomenal people of all ages. And I suppose some of the young people come in with such trepidation to be, I want to get into games, or I want to, be a part of this community. I'm still very fortunate to be, in great connection with like Fallout community, and Skyrim community, Elder Scrolls community, things like that from my previous role at Bethesda. It was quite funny because a few of the people there used to call me Bethesda. And like I was quite fond of that as well. It was quite funny. But I suppose one of the bonuses of the age, being the age that I am, and the experience that I have, is able to facilitate people's entry into communities as well sometimes. Like the Fallout cosplay, I know there's a few people here in the audience, a couple of here, back over there, a few others around, yeah. And like today, I know there's a big catch up today, and I've seen people in the past, like when it was Bethesda, even not Bethesda, going, oh, do you think it's okay if I come along? Like I've not done this before, like my cosplay's probably the best, like they won't care. They will welcome you with open arms, I promise you. It's cool. And it's like just being that almost, that voice of, not so much authority, but the voice of reason is probably a better way of putting it to them. To say, look, it's okay, I understand you're scared, I understand you're probably a bit nervous. These guys have maybe a few more years, a bit more experience, whatever, but you can learn from them, you can talk to them, they will share their knowledge, they will share their experience with you. No one's going to go, oh my God, what have you done? That's horrible. They're going to go, holy crap, you did a great job. That's amazing. Well, welcome to our community. And it's great sometimes being like one of these, an older gamer, an older community manager, whatever you want to call it, to go facilitate those connections sometimes. And it's like, put those people together, help them build their own communities as well. Because as Jared said, and as I suppose we all agree, gaming is about community. We are, you can game by yourself, you can game with friends, you can game with tens, you can game with thousands, depending on what you're playing. But the whole thing is gaming is for everybody. And we should all be a part of that community together.
Yep, absolutely. 100%. Thank you. Now, I think it's time for some questions. Does anybody have any questions for us? Oh, I saw one right at the back. First person way up the back was the first hand up.
This is maybe just a me thing, but I just wanted to voice it in the area who agree with me. I'm scared that playing inverted is disappearing.
Sorry, say that.
Playing inverted seems to be disappearing for me. On the Xbox 360, it was an automatic feature that every game you had would be inverted, and now that feature's gone, and some games are coming out and I can't even select it, and I'm scared. And
I just say, this is the first one for me. I play inverted games for life also.
Gutsy.
I wish my colleagues could see this because I get told crap as being the only inverted player in my office. And they're literally playing games like, oh, no.
I struggle, I like inverted too, but then because there's so many settings now, there's Y inverted, X inverted, and that, I don't know what setting I need to change to get the thing that I want it to happen. So I try to go down to go up, and then I can't work it out, so I just end up putting up with it. But I'm inverted too, so.
And as the first person to stick their hand up for a question, you win a prize. So I'm not sure if one of the forces could take that down.
Give me a round of applause, people, come on.
This person over here. Yep, with your hand. Yep, you.
You that
Yep,
guy.
you.
Yes, you.
Yes, you.
Yes, you.
So I'm 51. My first experience of gaming was through a family friend had a Commodore PET. I remember that. And it was an ASCII Star Trek game, and I was about 6 years old, and that really hooked me in. Tested my parents for a Commodore 64, and started on that. And then had this obsession with collecting games. And as I moved through Commodore 64, Amiga, 386, 486, eventually a 360, kept collecting and getting this bigger and bigger pile of games. As more mature gamers, can you comment about piles of shame? And what are your strategies for attacking that as you get older?
I think you need to embrace the shame. Honestly, it's okay.
Mine's on display.
It's okay to claim your collecting. You don't have to play. You're collecting. It's great. Everybody. Maybe we'll save Noel for last because he perhaps has the largest issue. Zaku, what do you think?
A lot of the games that I had when I was younger, I don't have anymore because when from a bit of a disruptive household when I was younger and sort of left and didn't take anything with me. But I don't think that's just a problem for older games. Just look at people's Steam libraries.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah.
Yeah.
Steam library is the worst.
So Nedra, what about you?
I've got 2 adult children who left their pile of shame with my pile of shame. And my husband's a gamer, so I've got 4 people's piles of shame, and the only way I could live with that was to display it behind me while I stream.
I don't. That brings up actually a good point, because when we were younger, like I said, we had to go to the air shop to hire games and stuff, and we didn't have a lot of games, and I think half the reason the console wars existed because your parent could only buy, you're getting a Sega, so that's you're playing Sega. So I haven't got a massive pile of shame, but my first sort of stuff where I was collecting was like an original Xbox. I've still got some at home I've still got Simpsons Hit and Run on Xbox.
Yeah.
It's still there. But I think now digital, I think there's a massive pile of shame, especially when people gift you really weird games on Steam. So if you ever have your Steam library on display and there's really weird games in there, people are like, why have you got that game? Because some moron gifted it. It's good now that you can. I do miss having physical. I do miss the book in games. I do miss bringing up 1902 numbers to get passwords for Wonder Boy and whatever else. Mum, can I ring up this hotline for 3 minutes? No, you can't ring the hotline. It's a video game hotline. Okay, you can ring that. Like kids these days have got it easy. They can just go to Google and punch in, how do I beat this, and they get it. So, yeah, most of my shame is digital.
What about you?
I think that the display has just gotten more expensive.
Yeah.
So, you know, it started out just a pile of shame, and now it's like beautifully lit, and it's it's evolved. But also I have the pile of shame, not really, that I've inherited from my son, who went to 3 Pokemon World Championships, and so we've got all these, you know, limited edition just Pokemon stuff everywhere. So I have mine and I have his.
Yeah. Now, sorry, just...
How big is your pile of shame, Noel?
Make sure you do follow Noel on
Yes.
socials to see his pile of shame, because it is indeed...
Not shame.
Glorious.
It's not a shame
More of a
indeed.
museum in a backdrop.
He's the Indiana Jones of gaming.
Yes.
Look. Everyone, when someone starts to throw me the look or so, it's look. Less of a pile of shame, more of a shame mountain. It has its own dedicated room in my house. It's currently, I want to say, okay, so just physical consoles and games, it's about 120 functional consoles. And I'm still counting, but the last count on my Excel spreadsheet that I have to have because I stopped buying multiples of goddamn games. I go, oh, I love that game. Oh, I have this 4 times already. Shit. 2,126.
Wow.
Now, that's my retirement plan. So, what are you doing to retire? That. But yeah, but also on the Pokemon side as well, and being from a generation that we are, I recently found my original Pokemon cards.
Whoa.
In that selection, I put up the photos on my Twitter, and as people very quickly sort of offered to buy them, I was like, oh, I'm not going to sell them because I love them. I didn't realize I had a thing called a shadowless Charizard. So shadowless hollow Charizard. And it's never been used, never been played with. I was like, I've got the pack. Like, my favourite one, put it straight into a plastic sleeve, where it's lived in a folder for the last 20 plus years.
It's okay.
I've never created it, but people have been going nuts like, oh, do you want to sell? It's like, oh, that's my childhood. Why would I want to steal it? one quick Google later, oh shit. It's amazing, like some of the things from the past that like, that's a bit of a tangent, I apologise. It's like, there's less physical, less like monetary value to things, but more that emotional, mental tie to things as well. Like, I still got an original Voltron that I had when I was given a Christmas present one year. I love that friggin' thing. I will never get rid of it, but it's all part of my childhood, which leads to my gaming and all that sort of stuff as well. Yes, it is a bit of a mini museum in my house, and I'm not ashamed of my mountain of shame. I could just to the gentleman over there, please ask that question.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you for adding me, sir.
Mine is much less expensive, but I do have my original Morrowind box with the maps and my original and Skyrim boxes, and the original coins that came with them as well. So that's good. And I guess my Steam library chain is growing rapidly. So there was another question. This guy in front. Yep.
So I know you said you're all probably far too nice for this, but if someone challenges your gaming credentials, what's your go-to flex on them? Mine would be probably, I was logged into WoW on launch day on the BlackRock PvP server, so you guys don't know what you're talking about.
Mine is, do you know what UO is?
I probably flex with, I got 100% achievements in Skyrim.
Not my flex, but I guess my superhero power is that I can rage quit the most wholesome, cutest games. I rage quit Disney Dream My Valley twice. I've rage quit Bear and Breakfast. Someone will come into the stream 10 minutes after I'm playing a game and they'll be like, "What happened?" You rage quit. The most wholesome game, because I won't rage quit. So I won't rage quit like Elden Ring because I know that I'm bad and I know that I'm going to die a lot of times. But if the game's really wholesome and I get frustrated with shit, the games conveniently crash. A lot of games in early access are pretty buggy and they crash a lot. That's my superhero power. I don't really have any. If you want to farm in a game, I'm your dude. I'll give you the best farm possible. I will try and break the game the size of the farm that I build. That's bad.
My biggest flex would be that I get to help streamers monetize from being in gaming and making gaming content creation. So helping the others within the community is my flex.
I believe you may have already flexed now.
Anything else you'd like to
Yeah,
add?
I think my other, I'm trying to do one flex, which is a flex in itself, but like, it means actually, like, for those who may have heard of the Church of the Holy Spirit roll. Mini flex right there. Was for other Bethesda, the last thing they had to do was actually get a simple community activation that happened here, which became the Church of Sweet Roll, actually part of Elder Scrolls lore. Because if you go now and play Elder Scrolls Online, you will find PAX's own Church of the Holy Sweet Roll in that game.
Raise the glaze!
I think my biggest flex was way back in Commodore 64 days. I had the game Labyrinth. I spent a long time playing the game. No helplines. No, not in that.
All the helplines.
Yeah, well, no, I think there was one. I might have only been a US number, so no helplines. And when I beat that game, I, with the dot matrix printer, made my own certificate.
Certificate of Legend.
I'm sure somewhere in the house. I'll still have that somewhere. Are there any other questions? Oh, sorry, yeah, up that one. This person up the back. Yes, in the perfect outfit, and I would like to come and look at your outfit later.
Hi there, Melissa, level 40 gamer. I do a lot of online stuff, but I also do a lot of tabletop role play, which I haven't heard a lot about. I do feel that there is still some gatekeeping because you weren't there for the original edition. You don't know the troubles we had. How would you suggest communicating to a younger audience meta lore that they needed to be around 20 odd years for and no one really cares about, but you've decided to include it in your game?
Interesting. I think that speaks a little to the point I had previously, is, do you need it? Is that necessary for the younger gamers to know about? I did role-playing back then, in a bit, and yeah, it was like you're extra weird if you were doing role playing, I think. And yeah, I'm not sure it's needed. I think it's okay to say this system is written as it is, and we're okay to go on that. That's my personal opinion. I realise that there are some conflicting opinions about that, but yeah, you did have to walk through 20 miles through snow to get to your D&D group, and honestly, that's shitty that we had to put up with that. Like, that's really crap. And so I'm so glad that the current generation of gamers does not need to do that. So I think it's important to go on from there.
I will say, as somebody who was part of that high school D&D group, got kicked out of the school library for playing it, and this is back during the early 90s, late 2000s, when D&D said there was like all that Satan and things like that, evil and exactly right. Which it just seemed like Stranger Things. To give you a good idea of what that was actually like back then. For me and that sort of thing, like I would say, if rather than making it a lecture, make it education. If you want to incorporate it, make it an education. It's like, oh, you guys wouldn't believe some of the stuff, and make it almost like a story time style thing. So make less of a you have to know this, more of a here's a fun tale from my childhood, which only mildly traumatized me back in the day. Yeah, I'd probably go for that sort of angle. Make it educational. Make it a story time. Don't make it like less like obviously because you want to get around the gatekeeping side of things. So it's not like you must know this to be a part of this, but make it like, oh, you wouldn't believe the shit that used to happen back in the day, and do that sort of stuff.
And we're so glad that you don't need to put up with it now.
I've never been in D&D, and I think watching Stranger Things, I thought, well, maybe it sort of wasn't like growing up. It wasn't in my like my friends, my nerdy friends at school did sort of stuff similar to that, but I didn't get involved. So we started D&D the first time with a couple of people in the channel like 2 years ago. So we're on our second campaign at the moment, and I'd never played before. So I started D&D at 37, and I'm loving it. And there's such a community, and the two guys in particular, one sitting right here, the talk between those two, and then me and the other new guys sort of sit there and just sort of we glaze over, chatting about, or something will happen and they'll both sit there going, we know what that means. And me and the other dude are like, we have no idea what's about to happen. They both know what's about to happen. So, and we're lucky that our DM he's not like a strict rule DM. Like he tries to make it fun and accessible to me and new players and stuff. So he won't actively try to kill us. He'll try. Watch what you say. Out of context. But he tries to make it really accessible, and he doesn't gatekeep at all. And it's a nice entry point into it if you've got a DM, especially that's sort of in tune with where your level is as well. Like you've got to be accepting, no matter what your age is. If you're 40 and it's your first D&D campaign, or if you're 16 and it's your first D&D campaign, like you want a DM who's got a sort of mature head on their shoulders as well.
I will say, just remind me, like my gateway to D&D was Hero Quest. It was like literally, it was quite literally, the first taste is free and the rest is pain.
Well, I'd like to thank everybody for joining us today. It's amazing to see you. Now we have one more major prize. If you just check the back, like this part of your seat, there's one seat that's got a sticker on it. So it's it's in the first half of the room. So just have a look. You should come and see it. Just turn around and have a look. It's quite bright, and it'll be on just behind you.
Yeah, sorry, Chad.
Is it stuck on somebody's shirt, maybe?
Did you forget to put the sticker on the chair?
No, that would be hilarious.
Yeah. Orange shirt. Just check your seats.
Yeah, no, there's nothing.
Hang on, I think they moved over there, did it?
I'll just check that.
No, they're actually on sort of this. They're on the front part, so maybe it's rubbed off on somebody's shirt. Perhaps the lady in the red shirt behind you.
That is unusual.
Yeah.
Red, okay. No, who has a gaming tattoo?
Oh, yes.
Ooh.
Okay, if you've got a gaming tattoo, so go out the back, you've already won a prize. If you've got a gaming tattoo, stand up.
What's the tattoo?
Okay, actually, okay. And let's go for the oldest one.
Fair enough.
The oldest game. The tattoo for the oldest game.
Oh, oldest game.
Oldest game.
That one, okay. Yep.
Chrono Trigger.
Oh, okay.
Close. What's your one would say?
Warcraft. Chrono Trigger. Okay, sorry, you sir, come forward and win this prize.
That whole sticker thing is very tricky.
Oh yeah, please. Yeah.
Hope this is right arm now.
Yeah.
Hey!
Nice.
I think I'm repeating that because I've just got the big D-pad, which is
Just remember, if you want to win prizes, get tattoos of Dan.
That's the question. Come find me after. I've got some more
Yeah,
there.
so if you ask a question and you didn't get one already, come see us. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
Do follow us all up here. And if anybody wants to ask us any more questions, just hang around outside after. We'd be happy to answer them. But thank you.
Hope you all enjoyed chat. I'm gonna end it here. Yeah, see you all later.